caused that switch for you?
I think there was a couple of things. One, I'm trying to think who gave me that advice. Somebody gave me that advice, and I wish I could remember who it was. I think it was a friend of mine that worked there. The other situation was I met somebody. I met my first wife, and she had a daughter that was a year and a half. And so I went from being this single guy kind of out of control to somebody that was in a committed relationship that ultimately, I got married. And so it was during kind of that transition phase, phase. I mean, it was time to wake up and to grow up. And I grew up pretty quick going from single guy to, stepdad and husband.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, because I think sometimes, you need almost that wake up call, right? Like, okay, it's stop
Absolutely.
playing around.
Yeah.
You're 20, 21, whatever it was. It's time
Yeah.
to get your stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So lead me up to, you said you mentioned you were there for 15 years and kind of, did multiple things. Kind of lead me up to that path of making that switch to the sales side.
Well, I actually got injured. So I was driving a truck. I was delivering material in kind of a remote location in Indiana, Pennsylvania, which, if you don't know where that's at, it's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. IUP is known because it's a party school. But I was delivering at a lumber yard there, and it was in January 1995. I was unloading material. And so we had some paneling on a forklift, and the gentleman from the lumberyard and I were signing off on the delivery tickets, making sure we had everything. And there was a guy that came in a 3/4 ton Dodge, thought he was going to make a left-hand turn on the snow and ice. Instead, he locked up his wheels. He hit me on my right side. My left side, my left leg was up against that paneling, and my femur snapped that direction to the left, broke my femur. And so ended up having 2 surgeries. It was about a 2-year recovery. All total, I was off work for 7 months. And then
Wow.
it just didn't get better. And I knew that, and this was back in the 90s, like I said. So, basically you just ask your doctor for painkillers and they give them to you. So I was on Vicodin for about 2.5, 3 years. Mainly in the winter time. Think about it. You're in a warehouse, concrete floor. That cold would just radiate up my legs, and it would just ache. And I worked anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a day on that concrete. And it was just, I knew that I couldn't do this another 40 years. I knew that I had to do something different. So I went back to school at night. Little different work ethic, little different result. I ended up, with having 1 B in the entire 5 years that I went back to school, and graduated summa cum laude, and was actually hired by a company that we sold their materials. They needed a sales rep. It was somebody that I knew, and I threw my hat in the ring and interviewed for it. And when they hired me, I literally went from being in their warehouse on Friday to going up and saying goodbye to everybody and coming back on Monday, and they were my customer. And so I was in that sales side for about 5 years, and they were my customer along with some other companies as well. I covered about 5, all are part of 5 states.
Wow. Wow. So then, did you go from that spot to then real estate? Was that the next
Not
transition, or was there something in between?
Not 100%. I ended up having an opportunity, and I took another sales position. It was with a customer that it was with another one of my customers. It seemed like the right opportunity. I was going to be building a business for them. It was a larger territory. The opportunity was there, and but I would be traveling a lot. I basically would have a Monday morning sales meeting, and then I would travel my territory developing this business the rest of the week. So I was gone Monday through Friday.
Wow.
At this point, I was already separated from my wife. We were already in the process of getting a divorce, And it was just one of those times where, for lots of reasons, that was the right opportunity. It's also around the time that I met Jackie. And so I was doing this job, and I still lived in Pittsburgh at the time, and got just to hate the job. Was too much travel, but also the owner and the sales manager that I reported to, we just weren't in alignment of what needed to be done. They didn't have experience with distribution. I had lots of experience with distribution from a sales side, from an operations side, and it just over time we just weren't in alignment.
Yeah.
At the same time, Jackie actually ended up taking a team leader position at Keller Williams. She managed the Strongsville, Ohio location. And if you know anything about their model, when you're a team leader, they don't allow you to sell. They pay you a wage that allows you to be able to coach and to train and to recruit and things, but they don't sell. And she knew that it wasn't going to be a forever position. It's not that she didn't like the company. It's just typically that position, those folks last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And she knew that she wanted to come back to a real estate business, but she also just didn't want to walk away from her sales because she was a top agent in the area. I hated my job. I was already in sales. So I literally quit my job. I went to school on the weekend, quit my job, studied for a week or so, took the exam and passed it, and took over her business as she was transitioning into that team leader position, and away I went.
So you just jumped in full time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it scared the crap out of me.
Did you have any interest in real estate, or was it just that opportunity, with Jackie as hey, sales is sales. If I can sell X, I can definitely do real estate. Or was there like some sort of like thing ahead of time that's like, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit interested in real estate and in this business?
It started out as I can sell this, I can sell that. But it was also about helping her. And at this point, we were already engaged, and we knew that we had a life together that we were building. And I knew that it was going to be important for us together. I didn't know if it was going to be a forever thing or not. And a few years later, I actually did take a pause from real estate and took a corporate job, and we can get to that a little bit later. But it was the right opportunity. And it was also something that I was really interested in, because once I got into real estate, especially those first few years, we had so much to talk about in addition to, everything else in our lives. I mean, it was just, we've always clicked from the moment that we met. It was just one more thing that just gave us to talk about. And it was really a, kind of a unique experience to kind of go through. I'd never gone through that before, where you just had so much. And even to this day, if I have something that comes up, I've been doing this 12 years. I've been a broker for the last 6, but there's still things that I'll talk through with her, just because, different perspective.
Yeah.